This is something you have been requesting for a long time. After much searching, I finally found 3 stories that take place during school lockdowns. It was a typical Friday in calculus class, the 7th period of the week, and everyone was getting antsy as spring break approached. Unlike many of my friends who had tests that day, our laid-back teacher decided to play games with us on Sporkle.com. While we were engaged in a brand logo quiz, I remember the exact moment everything changed. Just after my friend answered a question, Adidas, the dean's voice crackled through the loudspeaker, sounding panicked. He instructed all teachers to go into lockdown, emphasizing that it was not a drill. Goosebumps spread across my arms as our usually relaxed teacher rushed to turn off the lights and ushered us into the back corner of the room. We sat in silence for about 2 minutes until the usual buzzing from a panel in the back ceased, indicating that the school had cut the power. We exchanged worried glances, realizing the seriousness of the situation. A few minutes later, we heard a man screaming down the hallway. 2 girls in our class began to cry, heightening our fear. As the screaming grew closer, the man began banging on the lockers, shouting, "I'll kill all of you." At that moment, I truly feared for my life. Our teacher shushed us as we looked around, trying to gauge each other's reactions. The banging then moved to our classroom door, and one of the crying girls screamed, "No!" The pounding intensified, and the man yelled, "Open up!" Now, 2 girls were sobbing uncontrollably. It felt like an eternity as he pounded on the door, but eventually he moved on, continuing down the hallway until we could no longer hear him. About 10 minutes later, which felt like half an hour, the dean returned to the loudspeaker to explain the situation. He revealed that a mentally unstable person had entered the building and assaulted the woman at the front desk, causing her to flee in terror. The staff was unsure if the man was armed. At that time, our school lacked cameras and proper security, making it vulnerable to such incidents. After sweeping the hallways and classrooms, the dean instructed teachers to resume their lessons, but to keep all doors locked and not allow any students to leave for any reason. The most disturbing part was that a janitor working the night shift found the man sleeping in a storage closet. Rumors circulated among my peers that he had a .44 Magnum in his pocket. The janitor must have inadvertently woken him, because by the time police arrived, the man was gone. To this day, my entire class is unaware if he was ever found, but I like to believe he's receiving the help he needs. My school has 2 lunch periods. The first is for all 6th graders and some 7th graders, while the second is for the remaining 7th graders and all 8th graders. The lockdown occurred in early October on an overcast, rainy day. During the first lunch period, I heard 4 loud booms. Initially, I thought it was thunder, but the entire lunch crowd erupted in screams. I dismissed their panic until campus security rushed in, ordering everyone to go into the multi-purpose room. Kids who were in line to buy lunch had to throw their food away and enter the room. Along with a large group of students, my friends and I went inside, curious about what was happening. The multi-purpose room was huge, with a back wall made of see-through glass. As we were ushered in, security began covering the glass with curtains, and adults stationed themselves at every exit. My friend Eric, along with the rest of us, asked one of the adults what was going on. When he returned, he said, "You know those houses right in front of TMS?" I replied, "Yeah." He continued, "There's a mentally unstable man barricaded in front of his house, threatening to commit suicide and kill the cops if they try to evict him. He was walking around outside the school, watching kids in a creepy way." It turned out the man was also a registered sex offender, which made the situation even more alarming. We were confined to the multi-purpose room for a full hour, spanning 2 periods. After the situation was resolved, we were escorted back to our classrooms one by one. I later learned that the man lived next to my friend Brandy, who recounted a previous Halloween when she saw him at his window, cutting his arm and writing in his own blood, "Don't come here or I'll kill you." At the time, people, including Brandy, assumed it was just a Halloween stunt. After this horrific incident, we realized how dangerous he truly was, and we were relieved he never approached us. Now, at 22 years old and freshly graduated from college, I recently secured a job at my old high school as a computer intern in the messy, disorganized basement. Despite the chaos, there is a small, well-appointed office down there with 3 large desks, 2 mini fridges, a flat-screen TV, and air conditioning, a luxury not enjoyed by students or teachers. job thanks to the support of my 3 former computer teachers, who became real friends rather than mere instructors. Everything was going well until an unsettling event occurred a few weeks ago. Dave and Gary, my 2 co-workers, were upstairs working on papers while I was eating my sandwich during lunch break. Suddenly, I received a phone call from a woman in the front office informing me that the school was on lockdown due to a possibly armed intruder. With no door to our office and the basement door lacking a working lock, all I could do was turn off the lights for my safety. I switched off the lights in my computer screen, left my phone on the desk, and began texting Gary and Dave, but received no response. I sat in the dark for about 20 minutes, playing games on my phone while waiting for the call to resume working. I had no idea what was happening upstairs, and I was forbidden from making any calls until the lockdown ended. Then, I heard the basement door creak open. My heart raced as footsteps approached my office. I quickly crawled under my desk, overwhelmed by fear. Suddenly, my phone dinged with a text message, and I felt a wave of dread wash over me. The footsteps grew closer, and I braced myself for the worst. Just then, someone entered the office without turning on the lights. It was silent, and I was paralyzed with fear, convinced that one wrong move could cost me my life. I finally decided to dive out from under the desk, begging whoever it was not to kill me. To my surprise, a man in a red plaid shirt and a cap grabbed my arm and pulled me up. "It's okay," he said. "I'm just hiding down here with you." "What's going on up there?" I whispered. He ignored my question and asked if there was an exit. I pointed him toward it, but then asked, "Who are you?" After a brief moment of silence, he explained that he had come to pick up his son when a teacher told him to hide. Just then, I checked my phone and saw a text from Dave. "Dude, this is crazy. Some guy with a gun shot Mr. Buckley. He's wearing a red shirt and hat. Whatever you do, don't come upstairs." Panic surged through me as I looked up, my stomach sinking. The man seemed to sense my suspicion. In a desperate move, I bolted for the stairs. A gunshot rang out, and I heard a bullet ricochet off something metal in the darkness, narrowly missing me as I made my escape. Fortunately, police were waiting at all exits, including the basement, and apprehended the man as he opened the door. The good news was that our teacher, Mr. Buckley, survived the gunshot. It was later revealed that he and the man had some unresolved conflict, though the details were never disclosed. We all knew, however, that Mr. Buckley had done nothing to provoke such a violent reaction. The sound of that gunshot will forever echo in my mind. Like, comment, and share for more trying to hit 10,000 subs.